And why am I not hosting? Or sorry, it looks like I'm hosting, but it doesn't look like I'm streaming. This is one of the reasons why I actually wanted to try this. All right. So yeah, just give me a second here to get a tweet out, and then we'll load up the game. I'll probably put I'll put the music on as soon as I can, but I know if I tab out, there's going to be some problems. So let me at least get all my chat stuff up, and we'll be ready to start shortly. I'll maybe give you guys a quick run through in terms of what we're playing and why we'll be playing it. We have actually started Gabriel Knight in the past. We're going to be continuing the game. Just a second here. Returning to narrative games with Gabriel Knight. Sins of the Fathers. No. All right. So this is a game, an older game, a very good one though. It's one of the old Sierra Adventure titles. So once upon a time before Telltale, there were a number of narrative sort of geared games, which I don't know, they're very satisfying to play. If you can just give me a quick second here. I wanted to buy a couple of games off of GOG.com. I don't know how long the sale is going. So I was hoping to get that sorted out, but unfortunately, that seems to have caused a little bit of grief. So let me just try this one more time. All right, I'm just gonna go to I'm gonna go to the web page and get this set up. Again, I apologize, guys, for not being a little more organized. Let's throw some music on. Oh, all right, I'm just gonna go to I'm gonna go to the web page. Sorry about that. All right, sorry. Lots of strange things happening on my computer right now, actually. So I think we're almost there. But let's put some Paul Taylor on. Paul Kilduff Taylor. Hello, GNR/49. I am having a little trouble getting started up, partly because I've given up trying to buy something off of GOG right now. This is a me problem. It's a credit card thing, not a GOG thing. But I'm just going to need a quick minute to get going. It will not be the full 5 minutes. I just need a second to get I just need a second to get all my streaming stuff up. So enjoy the music, and I will be back as soon as I can, guys. Alright, thank you very much guys for waiting. We are good to go. So sorry that you'll not be able to hang out for a while. GNR, I totally understand. I'm trying something new with the timings. But I understand it's not going to work for everybody, so... By the way guys, I am actually looking for a recommendation on a game, if you guys are willing to give it. Is anybody familiar with the Ultima series? Specifically not Underworld, but the Ultima series itself. Alright. As much as I love Nervous Test Pilot, I gotta get gaming. So, this should be set up to go. Let's see whether or not it works. Okay, encouraging start. But you guys can't see it. There we go. What's it like, Tepetti and Blasi? Are they good? What am I getting myself into? You know what? I mention it because they are currently on sale on GOG.com. I really like this opening music, so we're gonna hold on it for a little bit. What do you? How's the game to voice volume? I feel like I might be getting drowned out a little bit. Tepetti, I've played this before. Actually, like, I know Tim Curry's a little uneven in his delivery, but I like the job that he done in this game. I think Gabriel Knight is well portrayed by him. Getting drowned out a little bit. Good to know. Look, let's bring that down a little bit. How's that? I think, oh, you know what? I think I can bring that right down and it's not going to make a difference. How's that? That's about as far as I can take it, I think. Again, really wonderful soundtrack. In my opinion, at least. But I need to get those, I need to get the levels, sorted. Sorry for those of you. I know there's some people who are here specifically for Gabriel Knight. It's a little tricky to get set up sometimes. But you can enjoy. I think it's Robert Holmes did the soundtrack for this. Okay, Ultima, very old school games. You like them because they had a more hands-on approach and better graphics than the Bard's Tale games that you would usually play. Okay. Ultima is significant for the Western CRPG genre. You don't think it holds up super well, due in part to Richard Garriott's tendency to aggrandize himself in his games, and the writing doesn't really hold up, but hey, if you want to see a game that helps shade RPGs as we know them today. Okay, well, I mean, I do like things for nostalgia. I mean, I'm playing Gabriel Knight, for God's sake, but not for, like, I don't feel like I need to play something because of its, what the devil is going on there? I don't feel like I need to play something specifically because it's old. Okay, I don't remember what day this is. I don't remember what we're supposed to be doing. This is the fun of Old Sierra adventure games. So, a quick recap for those. Actually, I don't remember if this game is in sort of this widescreen mode. Oh wait, but my dialogue options will be off, so I can't just stretch it out. So, enjoy the galaxy in the background, guys. But yeah, so this game, I mean, a little bit like a lot of sort of horror writers, I'd say. You've got Jane Jensen was the author of this. You've got a protagonist who himself is a writer. He is plagued by nightmares. His family, he's inherited this bookstore from his family. Only living relative is a grandmother who we saw and did some dialogue options with. Basically, he's researching a book on voodoo murders, which are currently happening in the city of New Orleans. And as you may suspect with such things, we will become involved in we'll become increasingly involved in these matters. So what I need to figure out right now is
wishful thinking. Gabriel. It's certainly like.
I gotta need to figure out where I am in this story.
Wishful.
Well, we've already taken the coupon out of
It's
this thing.
certainly light enough, but rather useless as Gabriel well knows.
I have GNR. I quite like the new version. Hello, Nico-san. And Petty, you're more of a LucasArts person when it comes to point and clicks, but certain charm too. It's got Tim Curry, Michael Dorn, and Mark Hamill, so it's hard to hate. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, LucasArts really, really knocked it out of the park. That crown looks weird. Which crown are you thinking of? I would agree. I mean, LucasArts did do a couple of serious style games. But I think they're best known for their, I think they are best known for their, how do you put it? They're best known for, maybe the more humorous ones, like Day of the Tentacle, Monkey Island, stuff like that. The one next to your name, oh yes, the Twitch Prime, indicator. I mean, Sierra also had its, it wasn't necessarily all, you know, stern and grim. I think Quest for Glory is a good example of a series that had a nice sense of humor. Mixed Up Mother Goose was obviously geared towards children. But it was kind of interesting. Sierra really kind of seemed to try and push as far as they could get to, good evening, Jesse Quill. And Phantom Klepto, thank you very much for that host. How are you doing, Jess? For those of you who don't know, Jesse Quill... Oh, I'm seeing my own stream. For those of you who don't know, Jesse Quill was just streaming BioShock tonight. I believe probably just finished BioShock 2. And she does a very good job of it. I actually didn't... Ah, thank you very much for that host, Jess. It says you're hosting me for one view. Did people abandon you? Or is it just not telling me the right numbers? All right, you know what? We're just going to wander around a little bit while we get this done. Jess, if you'd like, you can feel free to... Now I feel like the audio is too quiet. Okay, let's see if I can get a good level. Full Throttle is also very good. Most importantly, you think it was a good call to design their point and clicks to have no game over states, whereas in some Sierra games, you had to be a masochist to fully appreciate them, as one misstep could kill your run, and sometimes that wouldn't be apparent for a few hours after you made your mistake. Alright, so let me catch up. So Phantom Klepto, I say I know him more through MMOs, but apparently he doesn't play them that much. It was only because he was playing with friends. This game feels like it got a lot quieter. Jesse Quill, again, has been going through the BioShock series. I believe we'll be starting BioShock Infinite soon. She is actually reading 1984 soon. I've never played BioShock 2, so I wanted to get out of there pretty quickly so I wouldn't have the ending ruined for me. But it looks reasonably good. I'd actually be very interested to know whether or not Jess gives it a recommendation, because I don't own it. But I think she'll really enjoy BioShock Infinite, which I believe she'll be going directly into. So I think you guys will have a very good time if you haven't checked that out. It'll be a blind playthrough, and it's a beautiful game. So, but the more important thing is that Jess is a very gifted streamer, and she had a little bit of a display in terms of how she talks about serious issues. Now, I think
Gabriel
at the...
Gabriel doesn't need anything on that part of the desk.
I think this is as good as I'm gonna get as far as audio quality.
There's no...
But I can say this because my reputation's already in tatters in Jesse Gould's chat. I think sometimes I wish she had a better audience to appreciate the sensitivity and the even-handedness that she has when she goes into normal chat. But this is the big thing about her, is that she is... Notice how I'm sort of struggling to play the game while I talk. Jess actually does a very good job of finding that balance between playing a game and also engaging with her audience. And what you will see in that stream while she's doing that, somebody who is very much in touch with what people need, very much in touch with sort of people's intentions. She has this sort of capacity to understand how to position things the right way and sort of let people know, let them know what they need to hear, but where maybe I would have a slightly more abrasive approach to it, she is actually capable of building bridges rather than blowing them up. She is one of the people who's given me some of the best advice I've ever gotten in terms of casting, although of course any failings are still my own. And I think more importantly too is somebody who I am very proud to call a friend, and somebody who I really enjoy watching when I'm not casting myself. So we actually played a game last night on an offcast for her, because of her. We played Sword of the Stars The Pit. She is partnered with Chrono GG. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And she is definitely a major reason why I keep doing more casts. Okay, let's talk to Grace. I think that'll give us a good idea in terms of how far we are. And guys, I definitely could use some
feedback. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
On the audio.
Do you know anything else about voodoo?
I've told you all I know. Sorry I can't be more help.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I know you shouldn't be messing with it, and I know you will anyway.
If Sam Harris was a gamer, this would totally be his stream. That's very exalted company you're putting me in there, Nico-san. I actually quite like... the only time Trump has come up on this cast has been when Trump supporter has been in the chat, which I don't mind, by the way. I think it's actually a reasonably good dialogue to have. But keep in mind that I don't mind throwing my weight around if somebody's going to play the, well, you're Canadian, you don't have any stake in this fair and balanced, just like Fox News. I don't mind throwing my weight around when people start pulling the, you're Canadian, why should you care kind of stuff. But I think I like some of Harris's comments on Trump, because I think he does a good job of articulating his objection to him in terms that maybe people who are more inclined to be opposed to Clinton do. I was not necessarily a big fan of Clinton, but I think sort of my hand is kind of forced. If I were to have a recommendation for president, one of them is going to. You like how you can barely tell it's Curry until his character gets really mad. Wait, did Tapeti say something? Something about her dialogue?
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
You're the native, don't ask me.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I told you nothing. I hope you don't think this subject is erotic. It's not.
Anything's erotic when talking with you, Grace.
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
I told you. I can't help you with that.
Are you sure you don't know anything else about Marie Laveau?
I told you. I can't help you with that.
Well, I mean, whether he supports Clinton or Trump, I think he's also very clear that there's only one way he's voting. I mean, this is one... Here's one thing that I'll say. I kind of brought this up, so I won't... Unless you guys want me to go on at length about the U.S. election. I can. I mean, I have an opinion which I've weakened sort of my idea on it, but I think the town hall that's coming up on Sunday, I actually think is Trump's chance to do his best debate. I think if you were to ask me to place a bet on it, it would still be on a bad performance. I think a lot of people think that it's a guarantee, and I think I think it would be a safe bet, but I actually have some elements that I don't think people have thought in terms of why he could actually do well on Sunday. But the one thing I will definitely say that has attracted me to Clinton as a candidate is the amount of scrutiny that she's under. And, you know, this is not to say it is unjustified. This is not to say, you know, it's undue attention. I mean, if you are running for president of the United States, I don't really know if there is too much scrutiny. But if you consider this very fine line that she needs to walk in terms of, you know, how people perceive her. She can't be too... Think about what happened to Tim Kaine in the vice presidential debate. People say that he's too naggy. I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do, by the way. I don't necessarily see that as a win for Mike Pence. Because any time that he spends not defending or deflecting what Tim Kaine says is a time he can potentially attack Clinton, which is the weak spot. But you can think of all of those times when she's going to be nagged or considered too hectoring if she goes forceful. And yet the immediate perception that if she doesn't answer something that she's weak. I mean, all of this nonsense about her lack of stamina and so on and so forth. And the fact that she has, even in the face of such a, you know, a repulsive candidate, has continued to treat him as seriously as he needs to be treated. I mean, he should be treated, he should be ridiculed in my view. But the fact of the matter is he is there and has, you know, it's one step away from the presidency. She has addressed it with the utmost seriousness. She has definitely acted as somebody who is willing to work for the presidency. And despite my reservations, I mean, I've read the Christopher Hitchens book, the, you know, No One Left to Lie To. I think there is a lot to be said for somebody who puts the preparation in. You know, even though, you know, the last debate was a slam dunk for her, she's still taking days off. She's still preparing for the next debate. It is somebody who does not want to leave things to chance. And I think that is a very, very desirable quality to have in somebody who's going to be making the decisions. Anyways, I'm really sorry, guys. I think so. I mean, again, Nico-san, I feel somewhat...
Tell me about yourself, Grace.
What else do you want to know?
It's a little bit like my friends have a very leftish kind of political tendency, and so I tend to find myself defending slightly more conservative positions that I may hold myself, because I am more interested in having the best side of both arguments heard rather than advocating for a particular position. Which is not to say that I'm just arbitrarily playing devil's advocate. But I think it's very easy. It has always been very easy to...
Nothing, I guess. Never mind.
To hate on Clinton. And it's, you know, again, not... it isn't without justification. But I think it's very easy to get on a slippery slope and just all of a sudden draw this equivalence between a guy who seems to have been, like, I think you could sit down and you could get Plato's description of a tyrant. And if you were to make a character, it would look a lot like Donald Trump. It's alarming to me how quickly people are ready to draw an equivalence between them, where I don't think they're even remotely in the same league. Yeah, I mean, Phantom Klepto, it's not a right or left thing. I have a guy who claims that he is right-wing and supports Trump, and every argument I have against Trump for him is based on right-wing politics. Trump's anti-trade. Generally, fiscal conservatives like trade. We benefit from trade, right? Trump is no friend of individual liberty. Even his tax plans are not about really doing anything but enriching himself and his friends. So, I mean, it sucks for, I suppose, people of a more conservative temperament. I definitely think Clinton was drugged quite heavily to the left in the primary. But, I mean, valence is always going to be the most important trait. Whether or not you agree with the person on this political spectrum, you want the best person on office, because in the end, they are going to have advisors, and especially in the American system, where they need to go to Congress, right? There's a House of Representatives and the Senate. And, you know, they're going to have to work with them. In fact, I think, honestly, if the United States dislikes Clinton so much, what you're going to see is the Democrats winning the White House and then just having a hostile Congress, Republican House and Senate possibly. I mean, Bill Clinton went through it. You can definitely see a big swing. You definitely see some of the other chambers going to the Republicans and Obama's after the midterm elections for Obama. Mostly, I think they, you know, kind of the hangover period started, and people maybe thought, we're not quite that progressive yet. It's one really impressive thing about the United States system. It allows it basically can correct itself every 2 years. Anyways, sorry about that, guys. Rick's Flair, I am inclined to say no, and the reason for that is once Trump started winning, so it was very easy for people to talk about how much they hated Trump and how bad he was, and it was when he was losing. And when you see that Trump, we got to that part
I'll be
where
back
it was
later.
kind of frightening. It was kind of... Nico-san, I'm responsible for my own topics. So once you notice that period where it looked like Trump, it was like a coin toss between Trump and Clinton, it was astonishing how quickly Republican figures put themselves behind Trump. And so the thing that alarms me the most actually would be a Trump presidency, because I don't think people would say, I don't think Congress would stand up to him. If it was a Republican Congress, I don't think it would stand up to him as strongly as people kind of say it is. I also think it's a very weak, argument for a presidential candidate when you say, well, at least Congress will hold them back. Right? Like, I can think of active policy positions that Hillary Clinton will take that I think are good ones. I can't say the same about Trump. Even he himself says, right, you know, when he's making overtures to the black community, which are basically, he has no interest in getting the black vote. He's interested in making himself seem palatable to the white voters who are on the fence about him. But he, you know, when even he's presenting himself as what have you got to lose to that community. So it would be, if people want to have a Congress that reels in the presidency, it would be better that they do it with Clinton, not that they do it with Trump, because I think I think people will be surprised at how quickly I go through. And more importantly, too, Trump, as president, would be appointing Supreme Court justices. And we've already seen that a hostile Congress can hold up a judicial appointment for quite a long time. So again, Clinton may be forced to a slightly more compromised candidate. Well, not a compromised candidate, but like something a little bit more centrist. Anyways, sorry guys. I hope that was mildly interesting. Does anybody have any questions about the game? Because I'm actually trying to find out what day I'm on.
I'm sorry to bother you.
Yeah? What can I do for you?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
Just a little graveyard humor.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I don't really care to talk about it. I don't do it none myself.
Excuse me, Mr. Gardner, but with a beard like that, have you ever considered maybe starting a Twitch stream?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I told you all I know about that.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
There's lots of things to see here, but none are as beautiful as the St. Louis Cemetery #1.
I haven't quite got Tim Curry's voice for this down, but I know Jesse Quill likes it whenever I take a slightly southern southern touch.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them ain't poisonous, of course.
Do you have any idea what Caprice sans cœur means?
No, can't say that I do.
I lost 2 followers over that monologue. I don't know if it's because I'm boring or if it's because people take Trump very seriously. Yeah, well, I mean, Nico-san, I'm quite capable, I think Jess can tell you, I'm quite capable of speaking passionately about politics. But I think the important thing for me, especially when talking about it, I mean, especially if I'm doing a cast where, you know, I'm sort of projecting an idea out and, you know, trying to argue for my point of view, I'd like to try and put, if not a unique spin on it, at least something that I can sort of say is my own. And so in that case, if I'm doing, you know, a Bill O'Reilly kind of just shout at you and hope some of it sticks sort of routine, nobody really benefits from that. But if I can try and say, it's like, well, did you think of it this way? I'm not necessarily going to win anybody over. I mean, I think all of you sort of need to make up your mind and vote your conscience. But at the very least, I would like, I mean, the best thing for me is for my friends who are not in line with my, you know, with my own political views and the ones that I hold quite dearly, I would at least want to hold them to account and to make them reconcile their political beliefs with the things that I find very damaging. Generally, especially in Canada, it doesn't come to that. But I mean, I'll give you an example. Like, everybody seems to be falling over themselves talking about how much they want Justin Trudeau. And for, you know, full disclosure, I worked for the Liberal Party, not this election, but the last one. The one where we got our asses kicked. I can tell you a lot of things that he's doing very poorly, and I can tell you a lot of sort of underreported stories that I think are quite counter to the sort of image that people would like to believe about Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. I think it's just important that you try not to get too starry-eyed about these things, and that you focus on the fact that these people are working for you. They're your representatives. You should be paying attention to what they're doing.
Tell me about yourself.
That's about all there is to say.
What other tombs get marked? Can you show me?
No, I ain't one for naming names. I don't like to encourage that kind of thing. It's distressing to the families, and rightly so. Don't know how that sort of thing gets started. Why folks come to start leaving stuff at that one spot. But it happens all the same.
I mean, I could talk about the game.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery #1.
Just look around. You get the feel of the place.
Phantom Klepto. When a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, or sometimes when a mommy and a daddy, or sometimes a mommy and a daddy and a daddy and a daddy, or sometimes a daddy and a mommy if the daddy is very lucky. They all get together in the baby catalog and they ask the stork to deliver them one of them crying bundles of misery. One of those things that constantly poops and makes noises in the supermarket. And depending on how many daddies were present at the time, it is very difficult to figure out. I'm sorry. Very difficult to figure out who is responsible for this mess.
The monument isn't going anywhere. An odd monument highlights one grave site. It looks vaguely reptilian.
Incidentally, if there are any dual mamas interested in... Fuck. I can't do the voice when I'm saying stuff like that. Sorry guys, got a private message. We have a narrator voice? I couldn't possibly do the narrator voice, although I love the narrator for this game. Partially because I think the dialogue is well written. Oh! Milady?
Malia.
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
I noticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else.
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
Whatever for.
I can't stop thinking about you. I've been in your thoughts too. I can see it in your eyes.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that a million times myself, but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you've got more money than God. Do you think I care? Do you think that's why I'm saying this?
No, I don't.
Why don't you come see my world? I have a little bookshop, St. George's on Bourbon.
I know.
See? I knew it. You're crazy about me, too. Come by tonight. Please. My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Damn it!
Jessica, could you please tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how romantic would you find a man's dialogue like that? Does it work better in a clown suit at night?
No way.
The plate is locked in position. There's a keyhole on the plate, but Gabriel can't operate that without a key.
Alright, chat. I'm gonna find the right key to stick in the Getty hole, if you understand my meaning.
To the east,
So I'm wondering, so clearly the ringing gives us an indicator we made progress. I'm just not sure if there's
two
something.
enormous vases flank the front of the Getty tomb.
I'm just not sure if I'm supposed to be getting.
There's a small marble plate near the tomb doors.
If I'm supposed to be getting the item in the cemetery, or if there's just something that's been unlocked in another part. This is one thing about the Sierra games in particular. If you kind of advance the story in one spot, all of a sudden all these other events in the game could become unlocked. So it might be that there's something like in the bookstore or whatever that I've never, or that I've unlocked now. It's kind of why I'm redoing all these dialogue options, because again, I still don't know what day I'm on. But let's see if our friend the gardener has anything
I'm
new to
sorry
say.
to bother you.
You got something to say, son?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
What other...
No.
Tell me...
Nope. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to make it into Malia's house. see if there's something at the bookstore. Go talk to
I knew you'd miss
the
me,
detective.
so I came back.
Mostly.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
It's actually one of my favorite lines from Game Grace.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Your pal Mosley called. He left a message that they're interrogating a suspect this morning and you might want to be there.
Ah.
Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Do you have more messages for me?
That man from Germany called again, Wolfgang Ritter. Now he's claiming to be a relative of yours. I took down his number. If you change your mind and want to give him a call back, just ask me for it.
Do you have more messages for me?
I've given everything to you.
Not everything, Grace.
Can I get that phone number for Wolfgang Ritter?
Sure, I'll give it to you when we're done talking.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I never played RuneScape. Phantom
Here's
Clipper.
that phone number.
Thanks.
I wonder if I should...
If
I don't think I can get anything from Wolfgang Ritter. Let's take a look.
it's customary.
Oh my god, are they really gonna make me type this? I must have screwed something up. Alright, I'm just gonna write this in chat for a second so I can read it a little better. So that looks like 49093. Oh god damn it. 490-932-43333. Oh, you know what?
I'm not calling some stranger in Germany. I still don't know who this guy really is.
Thanks, game. All right, let's go. As I suppose, as Tapetti said, I should go see Mark Hamill as he assaults a.
I'm going out.
Don't hurry back on my account.
As he assaults a suspect. I find it kind of amusing that we had these relatively big screen actors moving into video game voice acting because it became commonplace for cartoon VAs to also be. Yeah, I mean it's well, see, I think John Rhys Davies in the Quest for Glory games were pretty good. I think I mean apparently he had a really bad time recording that, but the finished product's pretty good.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I told you, I ain't got nothing to say about voodoo.
Are you sure you can't give me the scoop on the voodoo murders case?
Hey, buddy. Do I look like the kind of lowlife that'd betray my sacred oath to this department?
I don't know. What would that kind of lowlife look like?
Like hamburger meat if I got a hold of them. Kinda like what you're gonna look like in about 5 seconds.
Okay, sorry I asked. What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Best food in the world. You can get it right here in New Orleans. Muffaletta sandwiches. Beignets. Good Cajun coffee. Yep. Man can die happy in this city.
I will admit, this obviously predates Hurricane Katrina, but I had a very strong desire to visit New Orleans after playing this game. I've never been, but I think it would be very
Do
interesting.
you know anything about snakes?
I told you I didn't, and I ain't got time to answer stupid questions.
You're a public servant. Don't I pay you a salary?
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
Are you sure you don't know what caprice encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Marie who? Is she the one that hangs out on Conti and Nash?
No. Never mind. Tell me about yourself.
You see that front door?
Yeah?
Well, I watch people come in. See this book?
Yeah?
Well, I write people's names in it, see? People that bother me. Want me to put your name in this book?
I think not.
That's what I thought.
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
It's just gonna allow me to walk in like I own the place? I do, because I pay taxes.
The door works pretty well where it is. Gabriel,
Madam?
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Could you get me some coffee?
Are you speaking to me?
Why, yes.
Wow. Deja leave it to Beaver. I'm the police photographer, sir. You might be able to find someone around here dumb enough to get coffee for you. But guess what? It won't be me.
Oh, thanks, anyway.
But I pay your salary. I'm a taxpayer. Hit him.
Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy, anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. Well, he's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning at Jackson Square. Pushing coke? He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. You been present at the so-called voodoo ritual?
I don't know nothing. I told you.
Come on now, you can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look. I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go, man.
Now, you relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were plainclothesmen.
Plain clothes. Like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Now, who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. Now, you tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you in the witness protection program. But you have to earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Don't make me laugh. Jesus, just let me out of here.
Now, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
By now they know I'm here. I mean, it's different when I'm supposed to come here. Well, if I can send a message. Tell him I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's frickin' useless. Take him back to detaining, would you, Tony?
I bet Tony's one of the voodoo people.
I tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum and damn the civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn! We only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I might have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. For the book, I mean. Maybe you can punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction, that's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do. You been feeling okay lately? You look like hell.
Me? You know, I can't sleep at night, what with thinking about the case and thinking about Annie.
I can relate. Played any b-ball lately?
Does it look like it? I'm so out of shape I'd probably have a coronary just looking at a ball.
I'm out of it too. We should play sometime. Get back into shape.
Man, I'd love to tonight. I'll let you know if things ever settle down.
Something tells me, Mosley, that I'm going to have to solve this case for you, and then we'll be able to play basketball.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
It sure as hell ain't going well. There's a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens. I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
What's the status on...
I told...
Tell me about yourself.
What else do you want to know?
Just tell me anything at all.
Remember how we used to play monkey in the middle? We used to piss off our senior year teacher. What was her name? Ms. McKelly? You'd act like you were gonna toss her an eraser or something, then you'd throw it to me over her head. And we used to do it at your grand's, too. Like with the remote when she wanted to watch her soaps.
Yep, and it was a great way to pick up women in the library. Oh, those were the days.
See, one of the things...
Oh, nothing, never mind.
There's two
It's
things...
your dime.
Two things I know need to happen in this game. I need to sell my father's painting, and I need to buy an animal mask with it. There's also a point where I need to
I'll
visit
let you get back to it.
Ciao, baby.
an older lady, but what I'm basically looking to do is I need to find the events that actually trigger those moments. So I'm not doing all the dialogue options just because you sort of know which ones are going to be relevant. But... Well, Jesse Quill, I can teach you a few things at the library. Let's do Dixieland Drugstore. But yeah, it's kind of, at this point, in addition to finding out what day it is, I kind of need to,
Hi.
I sort of need to reacquaint myself with, what the order of things are. So sorry this is kind of dull for people. I mean, I'm always 50-50. One thing that's nice about this is while I'm trying to figure stuff out, I can just let the
Can I
dialogue
ask you
go
just
by.
a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
But I don't know if it's just watching this stuff. Oh, hello.
It's important that I talk to Madame Cazeneuve. You see, I'm doing some research and...
I can't tell you anything about her.
Well, I tried.
Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this kind of business?
Why should I discuss my business with you, man?
Right. No luck there.
The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
There's also a point where, there's a point where I get to buy this animal mask. But that does not seem to be the time right now. But yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea just to let the game kind of go on its own while I'm figuring stuff out, or if I should kind of talk about how I'm approaching getting myself out of this rut. Because this is one of the big, these games come from a time when you would be playing something. Oh God.
I had a feeling you'd be back.
Really? Boy, you are amazing.
I don't remember if there's any more dialogue I can get
Please,
from her.
be seated.
But one of the things about this is right now, because we have primarily digital distribution. I mean, you can still buy games on physical media, but with digital distribution, you're no longer constrained by the size of a DVD. So when you think of a game like Deus Ex, and how good that game is, now also add to your attention that they needed to make some decisions. How good do we make the textures? If we make them a little bit better, what do we give up on that CD or that DVD to play? I think this game is so old, it might have actually come on floppies. I got it as kind of an old Sierra adventure pack. This game was ancient history when I first played it. So I think it came on CD. But basically, when you are faced with a hardware constraint like that, you don't necessarily have the option that a lot of games have now, which is to...
It's Gabriel's sketch of the series of crosses from the Laveau tomb wall.
If you... oh, you know what? I could ask the Dixieland drugstore guy what that means. But basically, if you think about it, you've got... you've got a limit on how much you can put in this game, right? How every time you make a scene, you're gonna have to draw it, you're gonna have to put it up, you're gonna have to, code the dialogue and so on and so forth. The audio you want to have fairly good quality, so you have to allocate some space for that. And so, it's a little bit like making a movie. Yes, technically every scene could take place in a different location, but you're gonna be paying for those locations, or you're gonna pay to build the sets. So one of the things, I almost think it's a design decision that they made. To specifically say, it's we're not going to be scared of making this thing sort of hard to get through, because in the
Gabriel
end,
magnifies the scale from the lake. The era.
If you if you think about if you think about trying to sell a product and giving people value for their money, if you finish the game in 5 minutes, then you're going to be bored. You're not going to think it's worth it. So in this case, I don't know if it's artificial difficulty, but definitely I think some of the puzzles are quite counterintuitive, specifically because the game would just be over way too fast if you didn't have that. So,
Gabriel magnifies the shed skin from Magentia, Moonbeam's snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain.
Wait a minute. So this is, I think, where I got, this is where I got the cemetery from. So maybe there's something that the
Could I ask you a few questions?
gardener gave
Of
me.
course, Seeker.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I'm sure a historian could help you with that, if you want to know more.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Nothing, never mind.
All right.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
All right. Here's an old one. Take a lodestone and some brimstone to a crossroads at midnight. Light the brimstone with a match, and a spirit will come and give you advice in gambling.
Magentia's parlor is...
Please remain seated within the protective circle.
Thanks for the warning.
How do I get out of
Gib-
here?
No thanks.
Gabriel really doesn't want to get on...
Well, I guess I'll be gone now.
The only vice is the absence of love.
I've heard that. Bye now.
Jesse Quill is not a fan of French, for those of you who didn't know. You know what? I think I may have forgot to read the paper. So, okay, so here's some of the... I'm trying to piece together what I know about this game. I know when you see Madame Cazanou, you can't get the Dixieland... Wait, this is Dixieland. You can't get the Dixieland drugstore to volunteer it, but you should be able to get Grace to
Hello,
research
Dr.
her.
John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
I've given you as much detail as I can, Mr. Knight. Look around the museum if you desire more information.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
It was Marie Laveau who defined the voodoo that is truly and uniquely the voodoo of New Orleans. She invented hundreds, if not thousands of spells, potions, charms, and incantations. These form the basis of the modern practice, not to mention the folk tradition of hoodoo.
Tell me more.
Her daughter, Marie Glapion, took over when the widow Paris got old. Most people thought it was the same Marie Laveau. Both Maries encouraged that point of view. The widow Paris died in 1881. Marie Glapion had been reigning a long time by then. After the death of the widow Paris, other voodoo queens surfaced, and by 1890, the cult was fragmented again. Marie Glapion just sort of faded away.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, but the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
Okay.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
You have heard everything about Marie Laveau that a layman might expect to understand.
Yeah, so the three big names that I know in this game are Tim Curry as Gabriel Knight. I think Michael Dorn plays Dr. John. And Mark Hamill plays Detective Mosley. I believe... I think Tim Curry came back for the third Gabriel Knight game. I don't know if Mark Hamill came back for the third one. And it had a different cast for the second game because it was done in full motion video. Not that that's a bad thing, but...
Tell me about yourself.
What more can I tell you?
Actually, I can't think of a thing.
Then, let us discuss something else.
Tell me more about current voodoo.
You have tapped my resources. My expertise is really historical. Perhaps Ms. Moonbeam can be of further help.
Yeah, I haven't gone that far through the third game, never played the second game at all, and my original intention was to play through this. I actually thought I'd be pretty quick through it. It's been a really long time since I played it. So, just kind of, at this point now, enjoying the ride, and we'll see what'll happen for going on to the second. The second I've wanted to play the most, because I actually read a novelization of it by Jane Jensen, the author of both this game and the sequel. But I've also learned, kind of taking a look at some of the more recent stuff that she's done, is that whatever talents she had. I mean, I don't know if it's just kind of because I started playing adventure games with stuff like this, or if her maybe abilities have waned somewhat. Her latest stuff isn't exactly best. He did reprise his role in 3. That's a shame. I think we've exhausted this.
Are you sure you don't know Malia Getty?
Quite sure, Mr. Knight.
Is there anything else I should know about hoodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
Alright. Yikes. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna say there's nothing else I can get here. Is that
Thanks
the
a lot. Bye now.
Mobius game?
Come back again.
I think I actually I got the 20th anniversary edition of Gabriel Knight through a GOG. It wasn't a GOG sale. I actually got it for free. But I'm not really... I definitely wanted to play the classic, 1, because it was all I had at the time, and 2, I don't know, I'm inclined to stick with the game that I know and love. I don't know why I feel like there's...
Hi.
I don't think...
The mask of the glass jars,
And wouldn't want to.
I gotta let
the
human go
shelf
through.
hold containers of dried items, flowers, grass, black cat bones. The poster reads, "Power will be yours when you use Papa Legba's power drawing incense and Master Power oil. Buy some today." The signs say, "Special Saint Jean Eve, Lagnappe, free bottle of lover come back to me oil, or Master Gambling oil, with every purchase over $50.
Lagniappe. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest, that is a really weird... So... I mean, the charm of these games is their art style, as well as their, as well as their writing, but... I mean, there's so much stuff that's just generic crap that's not gonna do anything. I had no idea. I mean, I clicked that kind of on a lark. Let's see if I get anything.
That wouldn't be particular.
Can I ask you what's the significance of St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year in voodoo.
What goes on exactly? I couldn't say. What's the significance?
I've said all...
Guess we're going back to Dr. John. Hey, CPO Williams, how you doing tonight?
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
I was thinking of doing, I know you got me Invisible Ink some time ago. I was actually thinking of doing that on cast tonight, but I wanted to do something narrative. But if, depending what time works for you, I might actually try doing that relatively soon. It's a fun game.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
All right. Tell me about Dr. John's Eve.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in voodoo.
Thanks!
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before voodoo came to New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I have little else to say about that subject.
You're stonewalling me, John. I don't know why it's taken so slow, but
Thanks
I feel
a lot.
sense
Bye
of,
now.
of drama.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.
Was that a threat, Dr. John? Are you a real doctor? Where'd you get your PhD? What did you get your PhD in? Well, let's see if I can get Grace to research stuff for me.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back though.
Hey, Debbie Swears.
Boy, party time.
Guys, I actually found out, I think Debbie Swears might have actually mentioned this before and I just neglected, but I saw her in Kaylee Cake's stream last night and found out we have another streamer in our midst. So if you guys want to check out some more, I believe...
Times Picayune, dated June 20, 1993. Gabriel scans over an uninteresting front page. Under the cultural events section, there's a notice about a lecture on African religions. The lecture is at Tulane University. Gabriel's horoscope for the day. An evil eye is upon you. Change course before it's too late.
Lighten up.
Alright, that was productive. Yeah, I believe Debbie Swears is primarily a Daisy caster, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely another person to check out, especially if you like checking out, let's say, newer casts, which are kind of in the formative time. I mention that especially because I've gotten a lot out of having you guys as viewers, and I think it has sort of helped inform how I cast, and it's nice. I mean, I really wouldn't trade the audience.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
I want to point out it's not Dr. John. You listen to Dr. John from time to time. That ain't him.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Never heard of it. It must be a local custom. New Orleans love any excuse to celebrate.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I told you, I can't help you with that.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Maybe I already asked Grace to research Kazanu.
See you later.
Have fun.
By the way, Jess, I know I shouted you out, but did you actually give yourself the proper shout out? Alright. I think at this point I'm just going to kind of slice up the map and make sure I kind of go to each section It's going to be a little tricky just because I have gained more information as I go through. So potentially the Dixieland drugstore or the historical museum will actually have new information now that I've done that. That newspaper, but I don't want to do too much. I don't want to put too much effort into retracing my steps. If I get stuck, I'll be able to go back. Let's take a look at the cemetery. Which what talk show stream was this, Jesse Quill? Was that the Jack-a-Lifer podcast?
No, thanks. Could I have a minute of your time?
Yeah? What can I do for you?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Why, St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of voodoo. Sometimes we get some weird goings-on in that cemetery on that night. More often a few nights before. People taking grave dirt, bones, and more.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Don't know what they do with them, but it can't be pretty.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I told you all I know about that.
Okay, so presumably, I want to come here at night. I don't think there's anything else here for me right now. Fine, I'll do it. If you guys haven't hit that link already, she actually knows how to interact with her cast and is generally a nice person.
To the east there is only the back wall of the cemetery. Gabriel cannot go any further in that direction. An angel draped dramatically over a stone plinth marks the entrance to a large tomb. A stone angel leans down to gaze at something unseen. A stone... The imposing tomb is elaborately labeled Gede.
Thanks, game. Alright.
This old tomb has a sword carved into the stone below the name of the deceased.
What's the name of the deceased? Alright, again, I was hopeful. Oh, you know what? I could give the markings to Dr. John. No problem, Jesse Quill. But no, I was going to say, I like to joke about this stuff, guys, but Jess really is a very dear friend of mine. As I said, it's not anyone who can just get me to go and stream a cast basically to sell, or sorry, cast a game just to sell it. But Jess, one, does a very good...
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Does a very good job of her own with the games that she casts, but is definitely a personality I think is very, very much worth the
Somewhere
Attention.
there's a New Orleans phone book missing one of its C pages.
Oh, is that for Kazanu?
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
No. They look like nonsense to me. Where did you get them, if I might inquire?
I saw them scribbled somewhere. Just graffiti, I guess.
I see. By the way, I forgot to warn you, Mr. Knight. The local cemeteries are quite dangerous. Muggers, vandals. I would avoid going there alone, if I were you.
Really? Thanks for the advice.
Alright, where's the gun to shoot Dr. John?
Does this mean anything to you?
I cannot say that it does.
Goodbye, Dr. John.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.
Oh, don't worry, I'll run into your voodoo buddies and I'll kill them too. Alright, well, that told us a lot about Dr. John. Detective Mosley, I want you to arrest someone. He's banging the drum, T. Clark. They actually become quite important later on in the game.
Gabriel can't. The control box is.
Hey, Mostly.
Yeah, what is it, you wanker?
Are you British, Mosley? You can't call somebody a wanker.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
So he's probably going to say St. John's Eve is just a time where it sucks to be a policeman, but...
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
That's coming up, isn't it? We get some occasional weirdness in the quarter, but nothing much. Used to have a lot of strange things happen, though, or so I hear.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I don't know much except what I already told you.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
What else do you want to know?
Oh, nothing, never mind.
Sure, no problem.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I told you, don't worry about that part of it. It's all fake.
What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
I told you, it's going for shit.
Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight.
Yeah, no problem, CPO Williams. I know I've kind of stalled a little bit on this game again, so it's always nice to have you in chat. I hope you're doing well. And
This is the first page.
I'm definitely looking forward for a chance for us to hang out again.
Gabriel can see one of the photos from Mosley is an official voodoo murders crime scene shot. A graphic close-up of a victim. One of the photos. It's not. The suit doesn't open.
Tell you what, guys, I'm just gonna take a quick second.
Well, I'll be
somebody
seeing
was
you
nice enough to get me
Later,
a
Knight.
case of Red Bull, so I think I'm gonna crack one of those open so I can get in for the long haul on this game. Be back in less than a minute. All right, guys. Are you ready? It's not hasn't been in the fridge, so it's only a little chilly, but we can bring it up close. You can hear it in the can. Gonna open it. Smell the bouquet. Thank you very much to the person who got this for me. It's actually very, very, very much needed. Oh yes.
Can I ask you a few questions, ma'am?
I'm sorry, sir, but I really have to finish these reports.
I don't believe you.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Oh, never mind.
I don't want to ask her for a coffee again.
Fine. I'll get back to work.
Gabriel should go to...
For completeness, I'm going to ask this guy about St. John's Eve, but I don't really expect anything from the desk sergeant. While we're kind of waiting for me to get back on track,
what can I do you for?
I'm a little curious, who here is either a fan of adventure games or has played a game like this?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
A bunch of crazies out there on St. John's Eve, that's what. We're busy all night.
Really? What kind of crazies?
Your usual howl at the Mooners, I guess. They don't look no weirder than them that comes in during Mardi Gras. Never can tell, though.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I already told you, it's a busy night for us, pal. You want a history lesson? Go read a book.
Are you sure you don't know what Caprice Encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
Are you sure you don't know what Caprice Encore means?
You don't want to make me repeat myself, bud.
Okay, System Shock, time to give your cousins meds again, and back to Miscreated to work on your base. My god. Have a good one. It's good to see you again. Hey! Satan could beat up Jesus. Explain the 30 Years' War in 30 words or less. Religious conflict combined with imperial ambitions, leading to a senseless loss of human life and opportunism on the parts of Sweden and France. So we've got Tapeti, T. Clark, and Blas C look like they're big ones. I played Maniac Mansion, although I've only played Day of the Tentacle to completion. That was probably not a very good explanation of the 30 Years' War. Although the piece that came after that, the Treaty of Westphalia, in Henry Kissinger's book, World Order, whatever one thinks of Kissinger, I believe he kind of attributes it to, or he kind of says it's the sort of the founding document of the current way the world works. It established the idea of the nation state and has basically been sort of the principle under which we have 7 years war, 7 years words or less. Read a book, jackass. Less than 7. Earlier today, you started up the 7th Guest. Oh, W. Shand was playing that. That one looked ridiculous. Half-ish way through, then you remember you never finished that game because you hate those puzzles in the game. I always, for some reason, mistake the 7th Guest with Phantasmagoria, and I know that's a very inappropriate comparison. They're two very, very different games. So for those of you, here's a question actually. So let's take something that Satan could beat up Jesus. Let's actually turn this as, how many of you know about the 30 Years' War? Don't feel bad to say no, because I think you'd be surprised at how recently I learned about it. I mean, I'm not talking like last week. I mean, we're talking over a couple of years, but it's a very, very big
Could I
event
have a
that I
minute
think is
of your
under
time?
under-taught.
What you need, boy?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These
Wait, I've
folks
already
ain't
talked to
in
him
no
about St.
hurry.
John's Eve.
The marble
How did you learn about it? Satan could beat up Jesus. Is this just the case that Americans get better educations than Canadians about this stuff? Yeah, Blessy, I definitely wanted to make sure I referenced the Swedes just because I know Jess probably would be upset with the loss of territory. AP European history class. It's like the one time France didn't suck at everything. France is an incredibly interesting country around that period of time. I mean, the funny thing, right, of course, is France is a Catholic country, and so you would assume that they would be on the Catholic side, but of course this is what makes it so interesting, is that they used it for their ambitions rather than, you know, any particular religious significance.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy at the moment.
If you guys want a very good heavy metal album about the 30 Years' War, you can listen to Sabaton's Carolus Rex. It's actually got a hell of an opening, and it's definitely got some pretty, I don't know, it's got some very good songs. Lifetime of War is the one specifically about the 30 Years' War, but that entire period, the period covered by the album, more or less, is about the 30 Years' War and its consequences for Sweden.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
All I know is it's some kind of voodoo holiday.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
People who believe in that stuff think it's a real special night. Magical.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
People who believe in that stuff.
Does the phrase Cabri sans corps mean anything to you?
Never heard of it.
Have you ever heard of Marie Laveau?
There's a voodoo museum in town. They'd know more about it than I do.
Tell me about yourself.
A good bartender listens to other people's life stories without telling his own.
What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
That's about all I can say about this crowd.
Tell me about the street musicians around here.
Don't know what else I could say.
Well, T. Clark, I mean, one, I should buy a bow tie, and two, I should grow a mustache. What do you think about that, Jesse Quill? A mustache.
So what has Sam told you about voodoo?
That's about all I can remember.
All right, no luck there. Let's see if we can talk to people.
Can I ask you some questions?
I'm trying to be with my lady here, pal.
Far be it from me to
Thank
stand
you,
in
Jesse
the way
Quill.
of romance. Can I ask you some questions?
Sure. You want to know my son?
On second thought, I don't think you could help. Forget it.
I don't know what I look like, but I know I would look at least 2 times better with a bow tie. Look like Tucker Carlson.
Excuse me. I hate to interrupt your game, but could I ask you a few questions?
What game? This isn't a game. It's a slaughter.
He's right, you know, so let me die in peace, would you?
Sorry to bother you, but could...
I'm...
No, you bastard.
Besides, I'm busy sucking poor old Sam dry. Go bug someone else.
You're a real sweetheart, Marcus, you bastard.
Can I ask you some questions?
I'm here to relax, friend. Buzz off.
Right. Sorry.
Fight him.
This isn't that kind of bar.
Oh, Angelus didn't want to stay in the stream. I wonder why.
I don't need...
Gabriel has spent enough hours sitting around in this bar.
Put on a flapper dress and put your hair in tight curls? I didn't think I was going to be 1920s, 1930s fashion for you, but I can do that. I mean, a mustache could also be like one of them imperial ooh, I could get a George Orwell mustache. Let's see what's going on in Jackson Square. Okay, I remember I'm supposed to get a coupon for a hot dog at some point.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Yep, I mind, all right.
Why?
Because A, I don't know anything, and B, I'm busy.
Oh. You seem to be quite a reader.
Yep.
Did you ever read anything by Gabriel Knight?
No.
Could I ask you a few questions, Madame Lorelei?
The only answers I give are given in my reading. I'm sure your palm would be quite interesting. Come on, boys. Hoopla!
What inspired this?
Gabriel doesn't want to take... Gabriel doesn't...
I'm looking.
Gabriel leers at the dancer, but she seems to want a more overt demonstration of his appreciation. Madame Lorelei dances. She's pretty good.
Thanks, boys.
Madame Lorelei, see... Gabriel doesn't want to...
Oh, time for dancing again. Why not? There's got to be something maybe about that snake?
Gabriel does... That doesn't... Madame Lorelei would not...
Not a bad idea. Ooh, baby, I love the way you move.
Madame Lorelei winks knowingly at Gabriel and twitches her head.
Yep, she wants me.
Thanks, boys.
That was remarkably arousing.
The veil belonged to the fortune teller. It's covered with shiny iridescent sequins. Gabriel examines the veil with a magnifying glass. That sequin looks a little strange. Why, it's a snake scale.
Aha! I found the murderer.
Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to remove the snake scale from the veil. Gabriel magnifies the scale from the fortune teller. The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain.
Brr.
The irid... This is the... Madame Lorelei, the fortune teller, is garbed in a belly dancer's outfit and wears a boa around her neck. A real boa.
As I said, I actually really like... I think the narrator probably has the most consistently good lines in the game.
Could I ask you a few questions, Madame Lorelei?
The only answers I give are given in my...
Did you lose a veil?
Huh! My veil! I'm always losing those things. You have no idea. Well, darling, you're such a sweetie to return a lady's delicates, and so handsome as well.
Well,
And since you have such a clear interest in fortune-telling, let me see your hands. They look so strong. Perhaps they will make both our fortunes clear, no?
I wish something would.
Strong. Yes, and yet so delicate. And, flexible.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, good. I see a mysterious woman in your immediate future.
Madame Lorelei winks at Gabriel knowingly.
She is a dangerous one. Dark and beautiful. Ah, I see the road of your life, Falcon. And very soon.
The blood drains from Madame Lorelei's face in an instant. Sweat beads on her upper lip.
Are you okay?
They're all falses.
Oh, God! Beware! Beware!
Madame Lorelei,
What is it about me lately?
I would like you to tell me a little bit more about this Falcon in my future. Alright, so demon-possessed woman. I guess we're making progress. I think I remember this
The
puzzle.
artist is an able draftsman, but interrogating him wouldn't lend much to Gabriel's investigation.
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out
I
for
already
some
did
reason.
that.
There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow, this is great.
Uh-huh. Just don't, like, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Oh, forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and good luck.
Okay, this makes a lot more sense then.
This is the last. The reconstructed Veve was done for Gabriel by a technical artist. Those two are... Gabriel...
I guess there's nothing more to do with that then? No, I was hoping to start a fight. Alright, looks like we don't have anything else to do. I'm just trying to think what I'm supposed to do with that drawing. I suspect if I show it to Dr. John or the Dixieland shopkeep. You know what? Let's start with Moonbeam Residence.
Gabriel Knight, come in.
Hello, Magentia.
Please, be seated.
Since Magenta has a snake, putting the scales...
Could I ask... What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall. But in the old days, they had ceremonies out in the wild, and they wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice.
Okay, I think I know what I need
Sometimes
to do
in
now.
the swamp, you know. Bayou St. John. Sometimes at the lake, Lake Pontchartrain.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I saw them used once or twice when I was younger, but you don't see them much anymore. They are too close.
Too close to what?
Just bad karma.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Special ceremonies are performed, and the Loa come to ride the faithful.
Tell me more about riding the faithful.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
There is no night more powerful to voodoo magic. There is no night more powerful.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I don't know what else to say about that.
Okay. So, my guess is now I'm going to need to go...
Well, I guess I'll be going now.
I need to go back to the Dixieland drugstore, find out how much the animal mask costs. I don't have money for it.
Peace and harmony be yours.
Right.
And I think that will unlock an event that allows me to sell the painting.
Hi. Uh-huh. Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Like the ones in the voodoo rituals they do for the tourists?
Right.
I used to sell a few as souvenirs. The only one left is Willie Jr. over there. The old crocodile. Well, he's sort of a mascot now, him.
About Willie Jr., would you be willing to let him go?
Maybe. For $100.
$100? You gotta be kidding.
Me and Willie Jr. very close, no. I could part with him for less.
Can you tell me anything else about how animal masks are used?
They're curiosities, no? This here's a curio shop.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting. Can you tell me
They're curiosities, no?
Oh. Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $100.
Would you take... It's important that I talk to Madame Cazonou. You see, I'm doing some research and...
I can't tell you anything.
Hello, Mr. Franz. Good to see you again. We are playing a classic game from Sierra, back in the days when they used to sort of dominate the point-and-click adventure series. This is stuff that kind of predates Telltale games. I quite like this game a lot. I find it a little difficult to cast just because I'm at the point now where I have a rough idea about what I'm supposed to do. I can't talk a lot about the game except for the, before, without spoiling the plot, which I wouldn't enjoy doing. one thing that would actually help me, if you guys are a little unclear in terms of the story, I'd happily fill you in on any details while I just sort of realign myself. I'm pretty sure where I need to go to get the story moving again, but obviously I don't want to just sit in silence as I'm clicking things. I mean, the nice thing is that I think it's a kind of interesting story, and the voice acting isn't too terrible, so it's satisfying in that regard. But yeah, I'd certainly be interested in answering any questions that you guys might have about the plot, because I know we are partway through the story. Let's go back to St. George to see if I can sell my painting. Well, my dad's painting.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back, though.
The excitement of seeing you is killing me.
Three snakes in a skull. Gabriel's...
Hey, kids.
Bruno, how nice.
Gee, a customer.
Of yours? Hardly.
How's the flower business?
Well, better than the used book business, I see.
Rare books.
That explains why I so rarely see anyone in here. Are you going to sell me that wonderful painting of yours today?
How much would you give me for it, Bruno?
Gabriel, don't you dare sell your father's painting.
Stay out of this, Grace.
Ooh, you're serious? You'll let me have it?
Yeah, I'll let you have it, all right. How much for the painting?
Well, I could give you 100. That's all I can let go at the moment, you know. My fares are so tied up.
Gabriel, $100 for your father's painting?
Grace, let me deal with this. Fine, it's yours.
Gabriel!
Here's the 100.
You better take good care of this, Bruno. This is not just another of your hip art pieces, you know.
Really? Well, I fully intend to make the most of its display, though not for your sake, I'm sure. At least in my shop, there'll be a chance of someone actually seeing it. I can't believe I actually got it. Just wait until I show Sid.
So, one might reasonably ask, how the hell are you supposed to figure that out?
I don't believe you!
It's just a painting, Grace. There are things I have to do.
So, the poem at the beginning of this one. Jesse Quill, I'm selling it so I can get the $100 for the animal mask. The plan here is to... So, with the revelations of St. John's Eve and there being voodoo rituals, the plan is to ultimately infiltrate one of the meetings, and to do that I would need to have some kind of costume. But it does a little bit T. Clark. Just Night Dive obviously has the helmet, not the skull. Or I guess it's a skull in a helmet. So there's a poem at the beginning of each day. It actually gives you a very heavily coded hint in terms of one of the major events that you need to do during the day. So in this case here, I mean, I mostly know it because I've played the game before. Tipetti, did you actually go and look up the consumer price index?
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Have fun.
But by the way, you'd notice if this was a modern game, what would have happened? There probably would have been some recorded dialogue just for, trying not to sell out the store. I suspect probably in a modern version of this game, Grace would have been given a line specifically related to the painting. But of course, if you were to do that when this came out, again, that's another bit of data that you're using. It's one line. It's a cute line, I think. Well, presumably it would be a cute line. But it's a... Grace will remember that. But again, it's a waste of resources. So if some of the dialogue seems a little canned, it's mostly because it is. But it's mostly because you want to have those resources kind of used as well as you can. It's a very interesting idea. Like, I don't quite know how one would make a game under those circumstances. On saying it's like, here's the vision that I have, but here's realistically what I can accomplish within those boundaries. And I think it goes both ways. I think that leads to inventiveness, and I think that would lead to a better quality of game. I mean, there is, I think, some merit to saying, you know, they don't make them like they used to.
This is the last.
But on the other hand, it does also mean that you get to see...
Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
Some of the, I won't say flaws, but maybe some of the more, how do I put it? I don't know, some of the things that we now sort of take for granted as best practices in games.
Are you still interested in selling that crocodile mask?
Or you show me $100 and the mask is yours.
Are you?
Or you show me.
Does this look like $100?
I have $100. You still want to sell that crocodile mask?
That's $100, sure enough. The mask, it's yours, sir.
That's monsieur to you.
Here you go. Careful it don't bite you now.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't you go forgetting your lagniappe. A free bottle of Master Gambling Oil.
The sign said I could get Lady Luck oil instead.
Well, I wasn't thinking a man as young as you would be needing that kind of remedying. But if you having problems with your...
Oh, that's all right. Believe me, I don't need it. I'll just stick with this. Thanks, anyway.
Of course, it ain't none of my business if you do need it.
I don't need it.
Of course you don't.
I forgot about that exchange. Actually, I really like that one. All right.
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
I'm going to show you the progress of my investigation, sir.
Does this pattern look familiar to you?
Where did you get that?
You do recognize it then?
I have never seen it before in my life.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I used to have some antique African totem masks, but they were on the point of disintegration, so I removed them.
Are you sure you can't educate me further about animal masks?
Unfortunately, I do not know much about totem masks. The practice was more African than American, and that is not my area of expertise.
Okay, thanks. Are you sure you can't educate? Okay. What else can you tell?
I am.
Thank you for the stimulating conversation, Michael Dorn.
Goodbye, Dr. John.
Goodbye, Mr. Knight.
Now I gotta think. Ah, yes, there's a lecture.
It looks like the lecture is just starting. Gabriel decides to record the session.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa, but the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of the subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems had. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all those spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. The one tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens.
She's a virgin if you don't
Bodies of
count
the
anal, Capetti.
Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa. And this is called being ridden.
Tell
The
me
human
more
worshipper
about
is
being
seen
ridden.
as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god; Ezruli, the mistress of love; Papa Nebo, or Gede, the lord of death; Agwe, the spirit of water; Legba, spirit of the crossroads; and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
Ugh. Oh, I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called Haunfors. Their priests, Hangun or Bokors. Their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a voodoo Haunfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a Poto Mitan. The ritual circle is prepared with a veve, a pattern of symbols. Each tribe's veve is slightly different, consisting of complex symbols that identify their special Loa. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a Bokor and a Mama Loa, or head priestess. The use of totems or animal masks and markings was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves include the ritual gourd or asson, the ritual knife or kubasa.
That knife gives me the chills.
The ritual whip, or fouet cache, and the ritual coffin, or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa for specific magical rituals. The Mama Loa is the most powerful figure in any voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the Bokor knows his power is limited. Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She butterflies, fireflies.
Firelight. No, what is it? Gabriel?
What? I can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No, no, let me out. Help.
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my God, sorry.
How you doing, Rick Flair? Sorry about that. I didn't want to interrupt the lecture, which was so stimulating.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you have walked into my private office, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
I'm not so sure that this this mask is is appropriate to this guy's field of study.
Mind if I pick your brain?
And to Petty, I really
Not
like that
if it will
joke.
get you out of my office.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What can you tell me?
You already...
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treats voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
As I said, I don't know anything but what the papers say. According to them, there's no reason for me to be interested.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
I'm an author too, you know.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
Do you know anything about... What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Do you have any idea what Cabri-Sans-Corps means?
Cabri-Sans-Corps? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, wolves, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
What was that translation of a Cabri-Sans-Corps again?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
What a dick.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Sorry, what was that?
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
I'll admit, guys, normally when I see Jesse Quill write "what a dick," it's in a slightly different context.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about Veves.
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about Veves.
If you'd taken note...
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
No.
Fine.
Tell me more about your sex life.
I'd really like to know more about you.
There have been several articles written about me, Mr. Knight, as well as blurbs on my book jackets. If you want a biography, read.
I'd really like to...
There have been several...
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's, very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible if that's the gods' demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Azuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Azuli is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Hungan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that the Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me more about the mistress demanding a cock.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Tell me...
I wouldn't dwell...
Can you tell me anything about this pattern?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back. Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself. Each of the symbols in the veve represents something, a loa, a place. Where did you get this?
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No, you're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this veve is authentic, then?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm, undercover. You can contact me at the St. George's Bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this if you don't mind.
I do mind.
Can you tell me anything about this?
No, I've never seen those symbols. Therefore, they're probably meaningless.
Really? Are you sure?
I am never wrong, Mr. Knight. Therefore, sure is not in my vocabulary.
That sounds like me. Wait, that was actually a
This is the
pretty
this
productive meeting.
I'll see you later.
Good day, Mr. Knight.
By the way, I believe I know a guy who was tenured before 35 and went to Oxford. I need something to wear with the mask. I'm wondering if I get that from the church.
nothing on that shelf interest. Nothing on. Gabriel cannot see him. Gabriel. Nothing. Gabriel, the mirror. Gabriel doesn't want to take.
Alright. I think we got what we needed from here then. Show him the animal mask after dropping $100 on that bad boy. Showing it off to everybody. You meet.
Moving.
Honestly, the only mask I want is one of them fancy ass Venetian masks.
Gabriel cannot go in there.
May I help you, my child?
Could you give me a blessing?
Are you in trouble, my child?
Is the Pope? Yeah. You could say that, Father.
Then I hope this helps.
The priest blesses Gabriel through the confessional window.
Peace be with you, son.
Thank you, Father.
I just got a free blessing. Alright. Don't think there's anything for me here. Plague Doctor mask. Is that the long nose? Are you trying to suggest something for the miladies? Oh god, Jesse Quill. Alright, I need to be really careful about what I say whenever Jess is in the chat. Spend that money
Gabriel
on yourself,
should
lady.
get hurt.
I'm gonna sneak up behind her and I'm gonna be all like, "Hey, lady!"
Gabriel's already screwed that one up. Perhaps he should just talk to her. Gabriel.
You're back. You know, you really freaked me out running off like that. Yoo-hoo! Anybody home?
Stay away from Margagetti, or you shall pay with your life.
What the hell is going on?
Well, gotta go to Malia Getty's house now. Which religion would you like forced down your throat, Jesse? Make me a Venetian mask and I will like it. A handcrafted Venetian mask would actually be very cool. I wasn't gonna go to the Getty estate, but now I am.
Gabriel can't get inside. Gabriel, this, there's
Maya! Alright. Go to Gran. I don't think I'm gonna get anything from this, but let's, while I'm out here, I might as well
My
take a quick...
precious boy. How wonderful of you to stop by.
Can't stay away from you, Gran.
Make yourself at home, son.
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? I remember when I was a girl, we always had a St. John's Eve Mass. The Mass was said at midnight, and we held candles. One time on the way home, we were waylaid by a large group of drunken revelers. They didn't hurt us, but I was frightened. My father was furious. We never went to St. John's Eve Mass after that.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I haven't celebrated it in years, Gabriel. Well, I'm sure there's still Mass in the more traditional churches, but I don't go.
What can...
I haven't.
What else do we have?
Do you know...
Marie Laveau. Of course! She was that voodoo woman, wasn't she? She preyed on people's fears and superstitions, is what I think. There are always those willing to take other people's money for nothing. You stay away from people like that, Gabriel.
Yes, Gran. Do you know anything about...
I don't know what else to...
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Why, no, dear. Do you mean Mardi Gras masks?
Never mind, Gran. Do you know anything about Veves?
What, dear?
Never mind. Do you know anyone named Wolfgang Ritter?
Wolfgang Ritter? Oh, no, dear.
Odd. Do you know anyone... You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
So I think I got what I needed from the upstairs, but it's not a bad idea.
I'm
to
going
take a
up
quick
the
look.
attic again.
Enjoy yourself, dear.
It's gonna be a photo of her and Wolfgang Ritter. Caught in the act.
an elaborate mechanical clock. The ring of symbols does not appear.
Oh. And I think this might be a puzzle. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with it, though.
Nothing happens.
Hey, my Gran's a very special lady. Alright,
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
I sort of feel like I need to find something in terms of like a costume for that, that mask. But I'm kind of running out of places to go too. I could also potentially go to the, the police station because I got some more full information for Mosley. You gotta know you're done a day, like, you've got everything you need from that day, because the game will actually force you back home, but I'm not quite sure what I need to pack this up.
Detective Mosley. Hard at work, I see.
It's you, God help me.
Can I ask, you're the... Do you know what? Veves. They're ritualistic patterns used in voodoo. You know, like those marks we found around the body.
You know what the department says about that, Knight. That voodoo stuff is faked.
Yeah, well, they're wrong. These Veves...
Look, just stop worrying about them marks. I don't think they're relevant.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Animal masks? You mean like those Halloween masks they sometimes use in robberies?
I don't think so. More like real animals.
Never ran across anything like that.
I think we're either gonna have to give him something, or we've got all we can get.
You know those marks you found around the murder victims? This is a reconstruction of the whole pattern.
That's cute, Gabriel. Almost looks legit. I'm sure our police artists would be amused at your techniques.
Well, so much for that. Maybe the priest outfit is something I can...
I'll let you get back.
So either the priest outfit's enough for me to wear, or I've got something at my house.
Phew!
I wish you wouldn't...
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you...
Sure.
I have a pattern I need you to research.
How interesting. What is it?
It's a reconstruction of the tracings they found around the murder victims. The ones done in flour and blood.
Ugh. You shouldn't carry this kind of thing around. Who knows what these symbols mean?
Well, wear your evil banishing gloves if you want. But check it out for me, would you?
I'll see what I can find out. Anything else?
T. Clark,
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I don't think there's any failure in this game based on what you say to Mosley. There's definitely death in the game, but not. They're not sort of through dialogue. Like, they're through dialogue trees that ultimately result in you being murdered. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can like permanently piss a character off like in Dark Souls or something like that.
Do you know anything about Veve?
I told you, I can't help you.
Do you have...
Nope.
Alright, I thought that would have been the end of the day. I am going to take a second to save, though. So.
No thanks. All my clothes look the same, so why change them?
Alright,
nothing for me to do here.
Several dozen books, including several dozen. Gabriel doesn't.
Yeah, these truth ads somewhat. I don't know what truth ads are. Is this an election thing?
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
See ya.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so these guys are,
This
So this is another example where this will sort of seem like an answer that came out of nowhere, but this is the gambling formula, right? And there's that exchange that they had to say why I didn't get the error formula. Now, one of them is superstitious. This is the guy who's losing. One of them believes in voodoo, and then they are sort of gambling with the chest. Now, I'm not 100% sure why I want to do this, but it sort of seems like the place to use this item. So let's give it a shot.
Got a second, Sam? It's about your game.
I don't have a game. That's my problem. Don't you touch those chess pieces while I'm gone, you bastard.
I ain't never needed to cheat yet, you loser.
Thought you might be interested in this gambling oil.
Let me see that. Master Gambling Oil. What's it for?
Don't you ever wonder why Marcus wins every time?
Get out of here. Marcus would never use something like this.
Well, if that's what you want to believe. This is a powerful voodoo oil.
Ah, go on. Really?
This voodoo oil could make a nun get lucky.
Really? You think it really works, huh?
I'd stake my reputation as a novelist on it.
And you say Marcus uses this. That explains a lot. Let me see that bottle. Oh, this looks authentic.
Oh, it is.
If I could really beat that bastard. Stonewall, give me a Pim's cup, would you?
Coming up, Sam.
How much you think I'd have put in here?
Careful. You don't want to overdo it. Too much luck can be dangerous.
What? There's no such thing as too much. Now stand back.
Come on already. I'm ready to checkmate.
We'll see about that, Mr. Schmutty Big Mouth. Checkmate! Checkmate, you bastard!
Son of a bitch.
20 years I've been waiting to say that. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate!
You are the biggest butthead Sam Singleton that I ever met.
Checkmate!
You can just put this chessboard where the sun don't shine.
Hallelujah! I did it! Yippee!
Nice game.
Nice game. Hell, I was brilliant! Of course, I gotta give some of the credit to that oil of yours. I've been losing to that guy for 20 years. If you ever need a favor, you come to Sam, you hear?
Will do.
What kind of favors do you do, Sam?
Can I ask you some questions now?
Luke, I'd be glad to help you out, but I've been stuck in this spot too long to know much about anything.
So, how do you feel now?
Couldn't be better.
This is the last.
Does this mean anything to you?
Not really.
That belongs to the.
What do I...
That doesn't. That would not work too well.
Could I ask you if you... What can you...
That's about all.
Do you know...
Come out.
Do you know...
Never.
This has got to be something I can get out of Sam, but
So, how do you...
I just don't know too much about his biography.
This is the last. Those two are. Those two are. Those two are. Those two.
Hmm.
Does this...
Not.
The crocodile.
All right, I'm gonna assume that there's nothing I can do with Sam at the moment.
What's up?
Buddy, I think the place you're looking for is down on Bourbon.
I think he just called me gay. You mean game-wise Phantom Klepto, or is there something that came up?
Please select a destination.
Again, I'm not entirely sure there's anything in St. Louis Cemetery 1 for me. I'll just...
Images. The Gabriel or
Excuse me, sir?
But you...
Mind if I...
Go ahead.
Nothing else. Might be stumped. Mind you, I've said that before. We've kind of gotten through, so... Again, I'm no closer to finding a...
This
oh,
is
wait a
the
minute.
that doesn't.
Worth a try. I was thinking like maybe there's a way that I could get some kind of like shape and have Sam build a key out of that, but that was kind of wishful thinking.
Gabriel.
Alright. I'm thinking the answers aren't here. Oh, excuse me, guys. Thought I'd be a little more awake. So maybe I might also be thinking the wrong way about this as far as the mask goes. It could be that I have everything that I need for the mask, and I need to complete some other task in town. Challenge is it's kind of hard to see what I'm not doing. So, I mean, it sort of feels like we've exhausted the Voodoo Museum and the Dixieland drugstore. We've got what we need from the professor. We've just came from the Napoleon bar. Doesn't seem like there's anything else for us in the police district. So unless there's... Well, you know, we did have that cutscene where we were told to stay away from Malia Getty, so...
Gabriel.
Hello?
Let's just take a quick run through our dialogue options and see what, if there's anything new.
Does this mean anything to you?
These are magic symbols. Deep magic.
Really? Have you seen them before?
No?
Then how do you know they're magic symbols?
Seeker, my eyes are unveiled to see truly that which is in front of me.
Uh-huh. Thanks. Tons.
Right, so much for that.
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
Oh, the voodoo code. It is very secret, yes. I studied it with my mentor, the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Great. Can you tell me what it says?
Let's see. Well, some of it is nonsense, I'm afraid. Whoever wrote this wasn't very good.
That's all right. Just tell me what it says.
It starts with a D and a J, and then... Okay, this part makes sense. It says, conclave tonight, bring... then there's more nonsense. F-W-E-T-K-A-S-H. Well, that last bit might mean cash. Fresh cash? It doesn't make much sense.
That's okay, thanks.
So the DJ might be Dr. John.
DJ Conclave. K-A-S-H. It's a start.
I'm happy I could help.
Could I ask you if...
Of course.
There's nothing new there.
Well, I guess...
May the protect...
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could read.
Hello, DJ.
Could I ask...
Of course.
Do you...
I...
Is...
No.
Are you... Tell me...
You have...
Tell me more.
I've...
Tell me. Just...
I am originally...
Really?
I will...
Actually...
Then...
Are you sure you can educate...
Unfortunately...
Okay. Tell me...
You...
You...
I...
What else?
I... There is...
What?
It has a real...
Spoken...
An official voodoo wishing stump. Rub it and make a wish, a card said.
Funny, I say the same thing to women.
Large, elaborate drums occupy a corner of the museum. The back wall displays various voodoo items, such as an anatomically correct voodoo doll with pins strategically placed.
Now, why does that remind me of Grace?
That knife looks familiar, probably from Hartridge's slide.
What do you call it? A kubasa?
That
What do you...
the back wall,
Nah.
the back, an artist's rendering, the back of, the back of, the back of a wooden doll,
Looks like Jack Nicholson.
a wood,
Looks like...
the back wall display, and an
Now, why does... That must be Marie Laveau.
a very large, very formidable looking snake is secured in a plexiglass cage.
He's got more hair than Mosley. Reminds me of a book critic for the New York Times. Damn. I've always wanted a skeleton with a bowl on its head.
All right. I don't think there's anything left for us here.
This is the last.
Well, you know what? Let's try...
Perhaps the snake is putting the... Why would Dr. John... Perhaps Gabriel should learn more about the scale. Gabriel Magn, the iridescent.
So it's telling me I should learn more about the scale, but it's not really giving me any other options.
Those two.
The fact that it gives me some different dialogue definitely indicates that there's something special about it, and that I should be showing it to people. I'm missing a
I'll be going.
prerequisite. See if Grace can do anything with the translation.
I knew you.
The excite.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do...
Sure.
I can...
Okay.
Do you have...
Nope.
University maybe? Or possibly the Dixieland drugstore, but I don't think it'll say that much.
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
Let's try Dixieland first.
Hi. Can I...
I can't...
Tell me...
Why should
I...
I never said those words, Mr.
I found out what Caprice encore means. How did you know about human sacrifice?
I never said those words, monsieur. You must have heard them from someone else.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons and boas. So I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
So I mean, as far as people connected with the voodoo murders, assuming Dr. John and that shop owner, the Getty family is possibly involved. Especially because they talk about how voodoo is a matriarchal religion, and Malia, I mean, other than Grace, Malia is really the only other like kind of major female character, so I sort of roughly know the plot. I just don't remember exactly who. Excuse me. Is
Mr. Knight,
is on the plot.
you're back. Oh, goody.
Thanks, jackass.
Can you tell me...
No, I've never seen those symbols.
Really?
I am never wrong.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
There's nothing new for us here, so... Maybe back to the park?
I'll see you later.
Goodbye.
maybe there's... Okay, I'll take a quick second at the crime scene. I think I'm wasting my time there, but let's just see. Yeah, there's actually... I don't think there's anything I'm gonna find there. So I mean, in the top right-hand corner, we've got the artist who already did something for us, so I don't think there's anything there. If we go to the left, there might be that... fortune teller again.
The drummer is...
But I kind of
the
doubt it.
juggler. The artist is an able draftsman, but interrogating him wouldn't lend much to Gabriel's investigation.
Yeah, so nothing else for us there. And unless I want to buy a hot dog again, I don't think there's going to be anything there either. Dear God, I'm almost at the point where I want to get a walkthrough. But I'll resist the urge. What I am going to do, though, let's go back to Napoleon House.
Messing with the stool would... Gabriel has spent...
Can I ask you...
Luke, I'd be glad...
So, I
couldn't be...
Alright, let's see what the bartender had to say about, the bar patrons.
What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
This crowd, the ones you see, are most... In other words...
What can you tell me about your
See those old guys
All right,
at
here
the
we go.
chess table? That's Sam and Marcus. They played every day for 20 years. Sam, the one with the purple jacket, he's lost every one of those games. It's not that he's a bad player. I've seen him beat guys twice as good as Marcus. But Marcus has Sam so psyched out, he loses his nerve every time. Either way, Sam, the chess player, he's into that voodoo stuff. He's always talking about spells and gree-gree and stuff.
Really? Thanks.
Either way, Sam,
What can you tell me about your...
I'd call you a regular, Gabe. And one of our local writers.
Okay.
What do I need?
So it doesn't tell me... It actually doesn't tell me anything about his, about him, but it does tell me about his opponent, so I'm curious if I can track him down somewhere. I'm gonna guess no, but let's give it a shot.
There is nothing of it.
All right. So I don't think I'm ever going to go back to this location. But we do know that the opponent wasn't there.
Hello there, got a sec?
What you need, boy?
Mind if I pick your brain?
Go.
What other tombs get marked? Can you show me?
No, I ain't one for naming names. I don't like to encourage that kind of thing. It's distressing to the families, and rightly so. Don't know how that sort of thing gets started. Why folks come to start leaving stuff at that one spot. But it happens all the same.
The voodoo. Gabriel cannot put his... Gabriel already... Gabriel can... The war...
Also been lurking a little here the past few casts. That's not a problem, Phantom Klepto. I mean, I'll admit, I'm kind of... I'm stumped, so I know it's not the most not the most exciting. Okay, the fact that he's moved.
A stone angel stands silent. There's not...
I'm assuming the dialogue options don't change based on where he is.
Hello there.
You
Ma-
go.
What?
No.
The right family tomb. There's...
Not a problem, Chuck. Commentary may be a driving factor, but that always brings you back. You always have something to say about what I'm doing, and it provides a great cast. Well, thank you very much for saying so, the Petty. I hope I'm not doing too poorly on this one. I know there's a lot of thinking that I'm doing, and part of that is because I'm getting quite tired. I was really hoping to do a little bit of maintenance on my computer, but I might actually just go to bed after this. Yeah, Indiana Jones is another good one. I think Day of the Tentacle is one of the better ones that LucasArts put out, and obviously those ones are getting some modern treatments. But even some of this, I'm actually a little surprised that the Sierra games aren't getting as much of the same treatment. I think obviously there's a remake of King's Quest, and Gabriel Knight got his 20th anniversary edition. But other than that, I'm gonna try the
Willie Walker might not. Those two object. Those two. This is. Somewhere there's a new.
Oh, I should just try calling.
This
I'm an
is the
idiot.
last page of This is the last.
You know what? I'm not even going to talk to it. Well, okay, while I'm here.
Do you know anything about these crosses? I think there's some kind of code.
Looks like a lot of hen tracks to me, man.
Alright. We're going to go back to the apartment and try calling Madame Cazanou. I have played this game once before Ace Gaming LPs, but like a really long time ago.
Hello, beautiful.
It might have even been
It's
a decade
me.
now that I think of it.
Really? I forgot you were gone.
Sorry about that, Klepto. If you have any questions about the plot, I'm happy to help as best as I can. Hopefully, it'll become
Somewhere.
a little more apparent as I go through. I'm just going to write these down really quickly. So Ace Gaming LPs, the best thing I can say is you're playing a novelist.
There's nothing.
Actually, I'll just turn that off. You're playing a novelist who has had nightmares recently and has been writing a book on a series of murders that are occurring in New Orleans. And it it's highly suggested that there's a connection to voodoo in it, although the papers report that it's merely appearance, whereas the evidence seems to be pointing to actually legitimate activity. So right now what we're trying to do is infiltrate. I mean, the game hasn't specifically told us this is what our goal is, but all of our objectives have been pointing us towards this end of actually infiltrating one of the meetings, which should be occurring on St. John's Eve. The one thing that I'm looking for right now is the contact for a character that we saw a little bit earlier on, known as Madame Cazanou. But we'll see.
Hello.
Hi, is this the Cazanou residence?
Yes. What can I do for you?
Do you or does anyone in your family patronize the Dixieland drugstore?
I'm a busy man. What are you selling?
Nothing.
Good. Goodbye.
Let's try that again.
Hello, Cazanou residence?
Hi, I was wondering if you could help me.
Yeah?
A woman in the Dixieland drugstore dropped her purse today, and the name Cazanou was inside it.
Dixieland drugstore? Never heard of it. Sorry.
You're right. We should make a list, 10 things you'll understand if you're a 90s phone.
Hello?
That's the one.
Hello? I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
It's gonna be May.
Got a minute, Grace?
So sorry guys, is
What's
there an audio problem coming up?
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I can't think.
Okay.
Oh God, that's got.
Do you have mess?
Nope.
Sorry, just messaging.
Gabriel,
I'll try the. I forgot what that number was. It was 1280.
Yes?
Hi. I called earlier about your drugstore order.
Hush, Castro! I told you, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so maybe we can use the fact that we know her number on the drugstore owner.
I'll be back later.
Uh-huh.
Hi.
Uh-huh.
Can I ask? It's important that I can't.
Willie Walker.
So I'm thinking Mosley or Grace might help here.
I knew you'd miss. Do you know anything?
Sure. I'm the one that...
Oops.
I've got some things I need to do.
Have fun.
Thank you, Jesse Quill.
Detective Mosley.
Hard at work, I see. Yeah, what is it, you wanker?
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Oh.
I have this.
That's nice, but I'm busy with the reel and...
Gabriel the era. Gabriel magnifies the scale from the fortune teller. The iridescent scale is hued all. The
So maybe there's something Fwetkash. I'm just trying to think who I can talk to about finding that out.
Gabriel gazes at the translation of the code that Moonbeam gave him, pondering who wrote it and for whom it was meant.
I found these strange symbols.
I'm sure any extra voodoo stuff you dig up will make an interesting story tonight, but I'd rather stick with the case at hand, personally.
Well, I'll be seeing you.
I know Dr. John doesn't give us anything useful, but there's got to be
Hello,
some way
Dr.
that
John.
I can...
Dr. John didn't seem... This is the... Why would Dr... Perhaps Gabriel should...
So the other thing I need to think about is who I can show that scale to do the comparison.
Could I add... What can you... What...
Voodoo is a... I know voodoo in this.
So...
I neither know nor so...
So...
I neither so...
What...
Is...
Jim...
I...
There is really... Jim...
I have...
What else?
I...
Tell me...
You have...
Are... Okay. Do you know...
I...
Tell me...
What?
Actually...
Dead.
Tell me more... Are you... Tell me more.
Not... Hoodoo.
Okay, so dialogue's exhausted.
This is...
None of this other stuff seems to make any sense. I seem to remember I needed to get something out of the ashtray at some point.
I'll be going.
Goodbye, Mr. Knight.
Phew!
It's an ash... It's a... There's no point... Why use the tweezers?
Well, it was worth a try. There's gotta be some way that I can connect the phone number with...
This is the...
Casino residence, may I help you?
Hi! You won a customer raffle at the Dixieland drugstore?
No soliciting, please.
Look, I will be honest. I don't know how much is serious inside a chat right now, but I have not liked what I've been seeing for probably about the last 10 minutes. I don't know if I'm just boring you guys or what, but I kind of expected a little bit more. Hang on a second. If this works, I'm going to be so mad.
Hello, St. Genevieve's Wedding Chapel. How may I help you?
Boy, do I have the wrong number. Sorry.
That's perfectly all right. Goodbye.
Is that the wrong one? 6170.
Cajun Critters Animal Clinic. This is Melissa.
Know anything about animal sacrifice?
Do you have a Madame Cazenou as a client?
Madame Cazano? Sure, I know her. She's not here right now, though.
Really? She told me she'd be there. Would you happen to have her address by any chance?
Yes, but I'm not sure I should give it out. Who are you again?
Thinking Castro is the right call here. So yeah, this is the idea. Every time we've gone through, it's pointed us to the attention of her dog, and I'm assuming this is the connection that you make.
I'm worried about Castro. He's missed 3 dance lessons.
Castro? Her little doggy? Oh, he's so sweet. Well, I guess if you know Castro, it's okay. Her address is 345 Dauphine.
Thanks.
Good Lord. All right. Maybe we can finally put this to bed. I'm closing chat, guys. Jesse Quill has control of it now.
I'll be back later.
Don't piss her off.
Good luck.
I really don't know or care what's being said.
It would be better to...
I think I know what I need to do with this, but let's...
Gabriel, Gabriel can...
Yes? Who is it?
Hi, I'm doing an article on voodoo, and I heard that you...
I am a good Catholic, young man. Take your evil influence elsewhere.
But I just have a few questions.
I can feel the evil eye. Go away.
Yep, I know exactly what I need to do.
All right, but this is private.
Yes? is it?
It's Father McLaughlin to see you.
Well, Father, you should be ashamed of yourself being so ill-groomed. I am sure the bishop would never approve. You can just go get a haircut before you come calling on me again. I know my duty, Father, but a priest seeking contributions should take pains to represent the church with respect.
This is
The things I do for my art.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Father McLaughlin to see you.
I see you've taken my advice, Father. I didn't mean to be harsh, but the church is the church.
Well, when you're right, you're right.
Exactly. Come in, Father. Please be seated, Father.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions, my child?
Of course not, mon père.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
People think I'm just a foolish old woman, but I know the things they do. My family's been in New Orleans since 1750, so I know more than most. Voodoo people are all over this city, in the shops, everywhere. They'll curse you like that, and most people don't even notice. Spit on your bread at the bakery. Take strands of your hair at the store when you try on the clothes. You have to be so careful. But I know their ways, so I can protect myself. I know how to use the magic too, and I can counteract their evil spells.
Tell me more about voodoo in New Orleans.
It's just plain evil. It's dangerous to even discuss it.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Voodoo murders? Ha! They are nothing new to me, Father. They happen all the time. I hardly go out anymore. It's too dangerous in the streets. They can get you anywhere, you know. Even here in this room. But I try not to let them know about me. That's the best way.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Shh. They'll hear you.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
The only true New Orleanians are of French origin, you know. My family were among the original settlers of New Orleans. They came here from France. The Creole society used to be so gay in New Orleans. Now it barely hangs on by its fingernails.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
You know, I can stroll the streets of the French Quarter and see in my mind's eye the way it used to be. It was wonderful in the old days.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans isn't what it used to be, I can tell you. There's too few of the real people left.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans isn't what it used to be, I can tell you. There's too...
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? They're evil creatures. Did you know that evil people can send them into your dreams? They can. That's why I never sleep.
Right, thanks. Do you know anything about snakes?
It would be bad luck to talk about that anymore.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Mais oui! I used to love the St. John's Eve Mass at Sandwick Cathedral. Of course, it is also a night of great wickedness, worse than All Hallows Eve. They will corrupt anything, Father.
They? They who?
Oh, you know.
What can you tell me about...
I don't think I should.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Sankor means?
Mais oui, I know. I bet you do not, father, n'est-ce pas?
It means goat without horns.
Ah, father, you surprise me. You do know what it means. You know what they mean by goat without horns, don't you? A human being. That's right. Slit your throat, cut out your heart. Pure evil murder.
That Cabri Sankor thing.
Do not continue to tease me, father. You know what it means as well as I.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No, father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about Veves?
No, father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about human sacrifice here in New Orleans?
Well, my great-grandmother could tell stories. She saw it. People say that sort of thing wasn't done in New Orleans. But the real voodoo queens did it. Oh, yes.
Can you tell me anything?
What is there to tell?
Tell me about yourself.
Me? I am Creole. My family has been in New Orleans for over 200 years. Real New Orleanians are French, you see. These days the city is overrun with people with no heritage at all. No offense, father, but it's true. But the French, naturellement, will always be the true blood of New Orleans.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, father, I don't know what else to say.
Who were the real voodoo queens?
Well, my great-grandmother told me that Laveau was just a front, a flamboyant decoy. She distracted authorities from the real voodoo queen of New Orleans. It's been the same one for almost 200 years. She's head of a secret voodoo enfant. That's what they call their temples, you know. It's so secret, most of the voodoo people in the city don't even know about it. The real voodoo queen controlled Laveau, gave her a little bit of power, and used her like a puppet.
Is there anything else you remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, my great-grandmother said that the real voodoo queen was the most beautiful woman on earth. She had the most incredible copper-colored skin.
Is there anything else?
Well, they are all brides of Satan. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
I don't think there's anything else to be done, so...
Well, madame, I must be gone.
Of course, father. I know how busy you must be tending your flock.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this.
Still not getting late, huh?
Please select.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back, though.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
There's no...
Got a minute, Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hound fool?
In New Orleans?
I think so.
No, I don't. But it sounds dangerous.
Maybe
You're not gonna try to find this
fortune
voodoo
teller?
group yourself, are you?
Would I do that? Could you?
Sure. Okay.
There's
I'm going.
Good luck.
Gabriel. Please, be seated.
I'm sort of getting a bit of an intuition in terms of where some of these things goes, but I'll admit some of the puzzles in terms of like going for the pets, a lot of those have just come from the fact that I'm exhausting all other options and I just see something like really out there in terms of a connection.
Could I ask you a few?
Of course.
So like in this case here, I want to see if I can do something about the Onfor, and she's about the only person connected with voodoo who's actually being cooperative.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hound fool?
There are many voodoo churches in New Orleans, no?
Yes, but have you heard of a secret voodoo hound fool?
Wherever did you hear such a ridiculous story? There is no such thing.
So it's Dixieland and Dr. John, but I don't think either of them are gonna help.
Peace.
Right. Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could.
Could I ask?
Of course.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hound fool?
Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Knight. The voodoo churches in the city have no need for secrecy.
Do you know any?
So I'm assuming similar
How's it going?
stonewalling from Dixieland, but
Hi. Uh-huh. Can I ask? Can you tell me any?
Well, there's no.
Can you tell me? Tell me.
Why should I just?
I don't think there's anything that Napoleon House can really tell me, but
Can I ask you some questions?
Luke,
So,
couldn't be.
I'm still not sure what the purpose of...
could I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Can you tell me anything about it?
Are you
Well, if there are, I don't think anyone.
putting those two up. That item, that Gabriel has a scale. Gabriel is carrying a scale he found. It's the shed skin from Moonbeam's snake. It's the
I wonder if there's a way for me to mess with the...
Gabriel likes the idea of leaving marks on the tomb. But at the moment he is not sure what to say or how to say it.
Okay, that's I think a little bit of an indicator that I'm on the right track with that, but I need more information.
Could I have a minute or...
You got something?
Mind if I...
Go ahead.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hound fool?
I don't know what you talking about.
Though it would be bizarre if Mosley knows anything about it. But also the professor would be pretty weird too.
If I want to...
Mr. Knight.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hound fool?
Secret voodoo hound fool? Where, Mr. Knight?
In New Orleans?
Well, I don't know anything about a secret hound fool in New Orleans. But if you find something along those lines, let me know.
I think I was also supposed to show him this photo. Oh,
Is there
hang
anything
on.
you can
Yeah.
tell me about the voodoo
I
aspects
think I know
of
what I
this
need to do now.
photograph?
This is serious voodoo ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph. Except for the corpse, of course. But the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia. Reminds me of certain black voodoo practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm supposed to get some kind of a bracelet.
Okay, thanks.
Goodbye.
I used the clay for that, and that's what Sam is for. I think Sam is the guy who I helped win the chess game. I think I get the bracelet from Casimir.
It would be better.
All right.
Music.
The thing...
It would be the knocker.
Yeah.
It's fat.
Yes. Please be seated, Father.
Thank you.
Well, I thought she had a bracelet.
There's an old-fashioned jewelry. Madame's jewelry box. Madame's auntie. The teeth are small.
Do you mind?
If...
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Oh, yes, Father. It is the wickedest kind. The kind they practice here in New Orleans.
Tell me more about black voodoo.
I already told you, black voodoo is what they practice here.
Is there anything else you remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, they are all brides of Satan. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound fool.
Well, I've never seen it. I wouldn't go near it if you paid me. But it's here in Orleans, I guarantee it. I hear the drums at night, oh yes. That's why I am so ill. I tell you, those drums. But we shouldn't talk about it. They'll hear us. It's the devil's work that happens there. I can tell you. I'll show you something. Something secret. You mustn't tell anyone, Father.
I swear on my collar.
Here it is, mon père. A true object of evil if there ever was one.
I think this is the bracelet.
It radiates something, all right.
It belonged to my great-grandmother. She told my mother that it was a token to gain entrance to the real voodoo ceremonies.
You don't say.
To tell you the truth, I always felt nervous about having it in the house. You know, evil influence and all.
Oh, I can see how you would, yes.
And yet, I could never part with it. It's been in the family for generations. Would you bless it for me, Father? I feel strange asking such a thing of you, but surely you understand.
Bless this bracelet of a snake, even though its vibes aren't great.
Gabriel has a thought about the clay.
Bless, oh bless this circlet of silver. Take the curse, oh take it, Wilbur.
A lovely blessing, mon père.
Yes, I think it made a lasting impression. Here you go.
I feel so much better now.
Alright, so I think I need to take this mold to
Gabriel cannot
Sam, and then I think that
Well,
finishes the
madame,
day.
I must be going.
Of course, Father.
I'm not.
Oh, what am I doing? I gotta go to Napoleon's.
See you later.
Good luck.
I know this isn't
This
exactly
is
the
the
most thorough playthrough of it, but I really just want to get to the end of the day and stop this.
Could you do
stream.
anything with this?
What is this? A clay mold? Well, I am a jeweler, you know. And I owe you one. Would you like me to cast this for you?
If you can.
You got it, pal. Actually, it'll be a pleasure to get my tools out. First time in years. I've been too busy playing that goddamn game. I'll have the bracelet tomorrow. Meet me here.
Great, thanks.
Alright.
Could I ask you if you...
Sure.
What can you tell me about
Voodoo. I don't. Some people do, but that guy Sam, the chess player.
Really? What can you... Do you...
Black voodoo? Nah. I prefer not to think about that kind of stuff personally. Crime, perversion, weirdos. Just makes me depressed.
It's getting late.
There we go.
Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Excuse me. I'm going inside.
Oh, excuse me, I'm afraid St. George's is closed for the day.
I'm not a customer. I'm here to see the owner.
Why don't you just leave your name and number with me, and I'll tell him you stopped by.
Listen, if Gabriel is here, he'll want to see me. Is he here?
Really couldn't say for certain, but in the morning...
Gracie, say goodnight.
Ugh.
You came. I didn't think you would.
I didn't think I would either.
Your eyes. Oh, I could show you around a little. It's not much, but...
Please, don't. I couldn't focus on much of anything right now.
Yeah, I know. God, what is it about you?
Just shut up and kiss me.
Day 4. I spoke to one who smelled of death. He gave me to his ears, and crosses that were marked were made into a veil of tears. So the crosses that were marked are probably going to be me adjusting the password. And then spoke to one who smelled of death. I'm going to assume something at the tomb.
You're not speaking to me this morning?
Don't be silly. I just have nothing to say.
Did you find out anything about that pattern I gave you?
Yeah, I did find something. I checked the microfiche at the public library. I found an article about a murder in 1810. The newspaper published a part of a pattern found around the body. It looks damn close.
You're incredible. All that work.
Forget it.
Have it your way.
Alright. So, I mean, I'd love to talk a little bit about how the dynamic between Gabriel Knight and Grace changes after that scene, but I'm not going to lie. Pretty much since chat went off the rails, I have not been enjoying streaming. I deliberately went late tonight to try and accommodate people over the move. And before I cast today, I looked at my financial situation. I saw how much money I'd been spending on streaming. Tonight made me feel like all of that has been a waste. It's the first time I've had to close chat. It's the first time I've really said I regret doing this. So thanks, guys. I hope you had fun, because I didn't. We'll be hosting somebody. I really don't give a fuck if you raid or not. I'm not opening my chat again. Have a good night, and maybe you can get in touch with somebody who entertains you a little bit better.